Hi everyone, this is Laura Sorvetti with the Special Collections and Archives Department at Cal Poly. In this video I'm going to introduce you to some of our online archives and some tips I have for finding digitized primary sources for your research projects. This page right here is our research guide for History 100. This is available at the library's website. The easiest way to get to it is by using the link guides.lib.calpoly.edu/hist100, and this is also linked on your Canvas site as well. It's a good idea to take a look at this sooner than later to get a sense of the materials and to learn about how to do the research with the university archives. We also have some video footage with History 100 students where they are graciously sharing their experiences with us all. And on this left-hand sidebar, you'll find my contact information. You can also use this button here to book an online help session on Zoom with me if you want to just check in on Zoom for 30 minutes or less. In this video, I want to focus on getting started with the primary sources online and finding them for your research. So for this, we're going to look at the third tab here on the left-hand side, Cal Poly Primary Sources Online. And this is where I'm putting information about the digitized primary sources that we have. I have some general base platform links. I have some tips for how to do searching in the archives. I also have some highlighted big collections that you could search within in those top-level platforms, and some additional links to the web archive, and also information about how the computer reads the text, which is called OCR. So the main thing to know is that we have two online archive platforms. It can get kind of confusing because they both are referred to by similar phrases and they both have similar information. But when you're doing your research, I always search both of these platforms to see what I can find in each, because they each have different information and I want to see everything on a topic. The online archive, which is this one here on the right, is the primary place where we upload digitized material. It can support audiovisual material we've digitized, photographs, documents, architectural plans, all sorts of things. The Digital Commons has a subset of the university archives on it, some really big collections that we have, the student newspaper from 1916 to 2011, as well as the academic senate reports. So let's check out the online archive. This is the home page. We have many different collections in addition to the university archives. You can see some down here on the left-hand side. And so these don't all relate to Cal Poly. And so to be more efficient with your search, instead of using this home page, I immediately go to University Archives under Featured Collections. And this is an umbrella bucket for all of the collections in the University Archives where we have digitized material. So you can browse through this list here. You can search within collections, but I always like to start with a pretty broad search to see what's out there. So in this case, I want to practice and show you an example of how to do a search. So I'm interested in doing research on the Vietnam War moratorium that occurred October 15th in 1969. This was a national event, and I'm really curious to see how Cal Poly was affected or how Cal Poly participated in the moratorium. So I'm going to search across all of the university archives with this search bar here. And I could search Vietnam moratorium. That's what it's officially called. But I'm a little bit nervous that they might not have always called it that during the year it was occurring. So I might just start with the word moratorium. This is a fairly unusual word, I think, so I don't think I'll get too many results. Yes, so I got 13 results here, so that's pretty easy to browse. I want to show you, though, on the left-hand side how to filter and sort your results. You can sort by the date it was created. You can also narrow your search down by years. So this occurred in 1969, so maybe I'm only interested in information of the year it occurred. So I could filter my results here. I can also change it here to a specific date range. This very much narrowed ours down to 3 items. We have something that looks definitely interesting, Vietnam moratorium. We have an interview with a home ec student, and we have a Cal Poly report. The Cal Poly report is a staff and faculty newsletter that still comes out weekly, and it's a great resource, and it's directed towards faculty and staff, so you can kind of see a different perspective. One tip here is you can search within I can spell it right? Yes. So you can use this magnifying glass to search within the text, that OCR text. I am really interested in this item here. A little bit about an item display. This is something that we've digitized that's a unit. This actually has 3 pages in it. And below the item, the digitized item, you can find information we call metadata. This is information that archive staff have supplied about this item to give it more context. So in this example, we learned that this is from the Office of the President, Robert E. Kennedy. It tells us it's in box 35, folder 1, if we want to see what else is in that folder or in that box. We have a description provided by the archives. We have some additional detailed information here. And so this is the fun part where you find something and you get to read it closely. There's different functions you can do. You can search within the text here again. So I've zoomed in a little bit to make it easier. It looks like it was paper clipped together at one time. It says Office Memo. It's dated a little bit before the moratorium. And then you get to do some deciphering. So Robert E. Kennedy is R-E-K here. CGY is Chet Young. And this is a memo. He's telling him that he's discussed the attached note with Chandler. He is well aware, Chandler was the Dean of Students, he is well aware of the need to enforce the signposting regulations. He says now he has a student assistant whose sole job is to tour the campus removing illegally posted signs, such as the attached one you picked up. The second page in that stack is the memo he wrote to Chet. I took this off the entrance welcome sign on Grand Avenue at noon on Sunday, ! Tell Chandler regarding post regulations, ! R-E-K. And then this is the actual object in discussion here. This is about 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper that is very cheap newsprint that it's been posted on. And so this is a package of information that you might use when you're researching the moratorium. I'm also curious, the second item here is an interview with a student at Cal Poly at that time. I need to fix this, but I just noticed that the date in the title field is wrong. Luckily, it's correct down here. And so you can click here and listen to the audio. This one's only about 5 minutes long, so it's pretty short. Was these recordings they would do during halftime. Because this is an audio file, audio and video, we create these timestamps to say, to give you a cue of what's being discussed at different times so you can more easily get to that information. Down here, interviewer talks about war moratorium that happened in the past week and the idea of community concern. So this is an example where if we had searched the phrase Vietnam moratorium, it might not have showed up. And so this will be really fun to listen to learn about how the student perceived the moratorium after it occurred. So that might be really useful. That's a little bit about the online archive. I also want to show you the digital commons. So let's check that out. We'll go back to the guide. and we can click here to go to Digital Commons. This is the home page. It has a lot of different collections, including more recent research done by students, senior projects, faculty research as well. And so I can browse through the collections here as well. If I only wanted to search within a specific collection, like the student newspaper, I could limit it that way. But I can also search broadly. And so again, I'm going to try moratorium, see what comes up. The Digital Commons, there's 300 results, so quite a bit more. And so we can skim this and see all the different items. And so they're using moratorium more frequently. I don't think this is in the Vietnam context, but we can check. This is similarly set up with this left-hand faceting or filtering. It's a little bit different in how it works. Here, these are the two I use most commonly. You can limit to a particular year. You can also use this advanced search up here to create a date range if you didn't want to just limit it to 1 year, but you wanted to search all of the 60s. You can also limit by publication, so if you know, oh, I only want to see what the student newspaper is writing. I know I'm only interested right now in the 1969 coverage of the event, and so I clicked on 69 and it limited it only to that year. And so I only have 14 results now, which is a bit more easy to manage. They're all student newspaper articles. And so you can see here, it's ranking it by relevance. You can also sort it by date as well, but you can see there's some information on the day it was occurring, so that might be interesting. Oh no, this is the day it was occurring, so this was the lead up to it. I'm interested in knowing more about what happened afterwards, so I might try to get the closest I can to the 15th. Looks like the 17th would be a good one to check. So you can click either here or here to download the PDF. I like looking here because they give some information, metadata here. You download the PDF here. And then we have the issue of the Mustang Daily. So again, you'll want to use the search function to find it in case it's buried in the newspaper. You can also browse it here. This moratorium coverage made the front page, and so it's down here, crowds gather to listen, learn. We even have a photo of the event here, and so this is some of the coverage of the event. Thought it was interesting to see this was actually set up at Mitchell Park, which is in downtown SLO, which is where a lot of protests have been gathering this year as well. And so this will give you some information from the journalist's point of view, and you'll definitely want to browse through and see what else is being covered and check out the other materials from this year to see what's being covered. So I think that's where I'll stop now. These are both great resources. Check both of them out. Try different search terms. See what you can find. Reach out to me with any questions you have. Good luck, and I'll see you soon.